good evening.
Let's read. Of course, I never can finish if I'm not reading a little bit every day. I'm reading about Israel. Is 7. So that's part of all my Israel and the crusades to Jerusalem. So I will go to bed and read this. But maybe I need a break later because I think it's very long. Oh, I cannot just lay in my bed like 2 hours. That's too long time. I need something to drink and bathroom later. But the video splits every 20 minutes.
Crusades. The Crusades were a series of religious wars initiated, supported, and sometimes directed by the Christian.
Okay, there's some problems.
In the medieval period, the best known of Ebola. Page semi-protected. Ebola. Other names: Ebola hemorrhagic fever, EHF. Ebola virus disease. 2 nurses standing near Maina Nseka, a nurse with Ebola virus disease in the 1976 outbreak in Zaire. Nseka died a few days later. Specialty infectious disease symptoms: fever, sore throat, muscular pain, headaches, diarrhea, bleeding. 1. Complications: hope from fluid loss. 2. Usual onset 2 days to 3 weeks post-exposure. 1. Causes: Ebola viruses spread by direct contact. 1. Diagnostic method: finding the virus, viral RNA, or antibodies in blood. 1. Differential diagnosis: malaria, cholera, typhoid fever, meningitis, other viral hemorrhagic fevers. 1. Prevention: coordinated medical services, careful handling of bushmeat. 1. Ebola, also known as Ebola virus disease, EVD, and Ebola hemorrhagic fever, EHF, is a viral hemorrhagic fever in humans and other primates caused by Ebola viruses. 1. Symptoms typically start anywhere between 2 days and 3 weeks after infection. 3. The first symptoms are usually fever, sore throat, muscle pain, and headaches. 1. These are usually followed by vomiting, diarrhea, rash, and decreased liver and kidney function. 1. At which point some people begin to bleed both internally and externally. 1. It kills between 25% and 90% of those infected, about 50% on average. 1. Death is often due to shock from fluid loss, and typically occurs between 6 and 16 days after the first symptoms appear. 2. Early treatment of symptoms increases the survival rate considerably compared to late start. 4. An Ebola vaccine was approved by the US FDA in December 2019. The virus spreads through direct contact with body fluids, such as blood from infected humans or other animals. 1. Or from contact with items that have recently been contaminated with infected body fluids. 1. There have been no documented cases either in nature or under laboratory conditions of spread through the air between humans or other primates. 5. After recovering from Ebola, semen or breast milk may continue to carry the virus for anywhere between several weeks to several months. 1. 6. 7. Fruit bats are believed to be the normal carrier in nature. They are able to spread the virus without being affected by it. 1. The symptoms of Ebola may resemble those of several other diseases, including malaria, cholera, typhoid fever, meningitis and other viral hemorrhagic fevers. 1. Diagnosis is confirmed by testing blood samples for the presence of viral RNA, viral antibodies or the virus itself. 1. 8. Treatment supportive care. 1. Medication atoltivimab /maftivimab /odosivimab, in Mazib. Prognosis 25-90% mortality. 1. Control of outbreaks requires coordinated medical services and community engagement. 1. Including rapid detection, contact tracing of those exposed, quick access to laboratory services, care for those infected, and proper disposal of the dead through cremation or burial. 1. 9. Prevention measures involve wearing proper protective clothing and washing hands when in close proximity to patients and while handling potentially infected bushmeat, as well as thoroughly cooking bushmeat. 1. An Ebola vaccine was approved by the US FDA in December 2019. 10. While there is no approved treatment for Ebola as of 2019, 11. 2 treatments, atoltivimab /maftivimab /odosivimab and onsuvimab, are associated with improved outcomes. 12. Supportive efforts also improve outcomes. 1. These include oral rehydration therapy, drinking slightly sweetened and salty water, or giving intravenous fluids, and treating symptoms. 1. In October 2020, atoltivimab /maftivimab /odosivimab, in Mazib, was approved for medical use in the United States to treat the disease caused by Zaire Ebola virus. 13. History and name. Ebola was first identified in 1976, in 2 simultaneous outbreaks, one in Zara, a town in South Sudan, and the other in Yombuku, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, a village near the Ebola River, for which the disease was named. 1. Ebola outbreaks occur intermittently in tropical regions of sub-Saharan Africa. 1. Between 1976 and 2012, according to the World Health Organization, there were 24 outbreaks of Ebola resulting in a total of 2,387 cases, and 1,590 deaths. 1. 14. The largest Ebola outbreak to date was an epidemic in West Africa from December 2013 to January 2016, with 28,646 cases and 11,323 deaths. 15, 16, 17. On the 29th of March 2016, it was declared to no longer be an emergency. 18. Other outbreaks in Africa began in the Democratic Republic of the Congo in May 2017, 19, 20, and 2018. 21, 22. In July 2019, the World Health Organization declared the Congo Ebola outbreak a World Health Emergency. 23. Signs and symptoms. Signs and symptoms of Ebola. 24. Onset. The length of time between exposure to the virus and the development of symptoms. Incubation period, between 2 and 21 days. 1. 24, and usually between 4 and 10 days. 25. However, recent estimates based on mathematical models predict that around 5% of cases may take longer than 21 days to develop. 26. Symptoms usually begin with a sudden influenza-like stage characterized by fatigue, fever, weakness, decreased appetite, muscular pain, joint pain, headache and sore throat. 1, 25, 27, 28. The fever is usually higher than 38.3 degrees Celsius, 101 degrees Fahrenheit. 29. This is often followed by nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, and sometimes hiccups. 28. 30. The combination of severe vomiting and diarrhea often leads to severe dehydration. 31. Next, shortness of breath and chest pain may occur, along with swelling, headaches, and confusion. 28. In about half of the cases, the skin may develop a maculopapular rash, a flat red area covered with small bumps, 5 to 7 days after symptoms begin. 25. 29. Bleeding. In some cases, internal and external bleeding may occur. 1. This typically begins 5 to 7 days after first symptoms. 32. All infected people show some decreased blood clotting. 29. Bleeding from mucous membranes or from sites of needle punctures has been reported in 40–50% of cases. 33. This may cause a vomiting blood, coughing up of blood, or blood in stool. 34. Bleeding into the skin may create petechiae purpura, ecchymoses or hematoma, especially around needle injection sites. 35. Bleeding into the whites of the eyes may also occur. 36. Heavy bleeding is uncommon. If it occurs, it is usually in the gastrointestinal tract. 37. The incidence of bleeding into the gastrointestinal tract was reported to be 58% in the 2001 outbreak in Gabon. 38. But in the 2014-15 outbreak in the US it was 18%. 39. Possibly due to improved prevention of disseminated intravascular coagulation. 31. Recovery or death. Recovery may begin between 7 and 14 days after first symptoms. 28. Death, if it occurs, follows typically 6 to 16 days from first symptoms and is often due to shock from fluid loss. 2. In general, bleeding often indicates a worse outcome, and blood loss may result in death. 27. People are often in a coma near the end of life. 28. Those who survive often have ongoing muscular and joint pain, liver inflammation, and decreased hearing and may have continued tiredness, continued weakness, decreased appetite, and difficulty returning to pre-illness weight. 28. 40. Problems with vision may develop. 41. It is recommended that survivors of EVD wear condoms for at least 12 months after initial infection or until the semen of a male survivor tests negative for Ebola virus on 2 separate occasions. 42. Survivors develop antibodies against Ebola that last at least 10 years. But it is unclear whether they are immune to additional infections. 43. Cause. EVD in humans is caused by 4 of 6 viruses of the genus Ebola. The 4 are Bundibugyo virus, BDBV, Sudan virus, SUD, Thai forest virus, TAF, and one simply called Ebola virus, Ebola, formerly Zaire Ebola virus. 44. Ebola, species Zaire Ebola, is the most dangerous of the nose-neft-causing viruses, and is responsible for the largest number of outbreaks. 45. The 5th and 6th viruses Reston virus, REST, and Bombayli virus, BOMV, 46, are not thought to cause disease in humans, but have caused disease in other primates. 47. 48. All 5 viruses are closely related to Marburg viruses. 44. Virology. Ebola viruses contain single-stranded, non-infectious RNA genomes. 49. Ebola virus genomes contain 7 gens including 3 UTRNP-VP35 VP40 GP VP30 VP24L5 UTR. 35. 50. The genomes of the 5 different Ebola viruses, BDBV, EBOV, RESTV, SUTV and TAF, differ in sequence and the number and location of gene overlaps. As with all filoviruses, Ebola virus variants are filamentous particles that may electron micrograph of an Ebola virus variant appear in the shape of a shepherd's crook, a VU or a V6 anthe may be coiled, toroid or branched. 50, 51. In general, Ebola variants are 18 nanometers, nm, in width and may be as long as 14,000 nm. 52. Their life cycle is thought to begin with a virion attaching to specific cell surface receptors such as C-type lectins, DC sign, or integrins, which is followed by fusion of the viral envelope with cellular membranes. 53. The virions taken up by the cell then travel to acidic endosomes and lysosomes where the viral envelope glycoprotein GP is cleaved. 53. This processing appears to allow the virus to bind to cellular proteins, enabling it to fuse with internal cellular membranes and release the viral nucleocapsid. 53. The Ebola virus structural glycoprotein, known as GP12, is responsible for the virus' ability to bind to and infect targeted cells. 54. The viral RNA polymerase, encoded by the L gene, partially uncoats the nucleocapsid and transcribes the genes into positive strand domains, which are then translated into structural and non-structural proteins. The most abundant protein produced is the nucleoprotein, whose concentration in the host cell determines when L switches from gene transcription to genome replication. Replication of the viral genome results in full-length, positive strand antigenomes that are, in turn, transcribed into genome copies of negative strand virus progeny. 55. Newly synthesized structural proteins and genomes self-assemble and accumulate near the inside of the cell membrane. Virions bud off from the cell, gaining their envelopes from the cellular membrane from which they bud. The mature progeny particles then infect other cells to repeat a cycle. The genetics of the Ebola virus are difficult to study because of Ebola's virulent characteristics. 56. Transmission. Life cycles of the Ebola virus. It is believed that between people Ebola disease spreads only by direct contact with the blood or other body fluids of a person who has developed symptoms of the disease. 57, 58, 59. Body fluids that may contain Ebola viruses include saliva, mucus, vomit, feces, sweat, tears, breast milk, urine and semen. 6, 43. The WHO states that only people who are very sick are able to spread Ebola disease in saliva, and the virus has not been reported to be transmitted through sweat. Most people spread the virus through blood, feces and vomit. 60. Entry points for the virus include the nose, mouth, eyes, open wounds, cuts and abrasions. 43. Ebola may be spread through large droplets, however, this is believed to occur only when a person is very sick. 61. This contamination can happen if a person is splashed with droplets. 61. Contact with surfaces or objects contaminated by the virus, particularly needles and syringes, may also transmit the infection. 62. 63. The virus is able to survive on objects for a few hours in a dried state, and can survive for a few days within body fluids outside of a person. 43. 64. An illustration of safe burial practices. The Ebola virus may be able to persist for more than 3 months in the semen after recovery, which could lead to infections via sexual intercourse. 6. 65. 66. Virus persistence in semen for over a year has been recorded in a national screening program. 67. Ebola may also occur in the breast milk of women after recovery, and it is not known when it is safe to breastfeed again. 7. The virus was also found in the eye of one patient in 2014, 2 months after it was cleared from his blood. 68. Otherwise, people who have recovered are not infectious. 62. The potential for widespread infections in countries with medical systems capable of observing